Now bringing us stories trending around the world is Ayo Mairo Ese. Ayo?
Thank you very much, Dr. Abati. Always a great way to wrap up the morning show, bringing you stories that are trending around the world. We start on a very sad note this morning as Nigerian artist Ilerioluwa Oladimeji Aloba, a.k.a. Mohbad, died on Tuesday, September 12, at the age of 27. Mohbad was born on June 6, 1998. He was formerly signed to Naira Marley's Malian Records and left the label in 2022. He was celebrated for his famous music titled KPK. And reacting to the sad news, many artists in the music industry and other celebrities prayed for the peaceful repose of his soul. This news was trending yesterday and really sad. I hear he has a very, less than 1-year-old son with his partner, and I hope that,
5 months old.
5 months, yeah, so less than one, just a very young boy. Really, really sad. Promising career cut short in the prime of his life. Famous American rapper Karim Kabuch, better known by his stage name French Montana, has donated 500 kinos to the Makoko community in Lagos State, where he shot the video of his latest song, Wish You Well. And, that's just him giving back to perhaps the community that showed him love when he came to record that video. Well, let's begin what's trending in a controversial move or going to Zimbabwe, where President of Zimbabwe, Emerson Mnangagwa, has faced criticism after appointing his son, David Kudakwashe Mnangagwa, and his nephew, Tongai Mafidi Mnangagwa, as deputy ministers in a newly formed cabinet. This decision comes on the heels of Mnangagwa's recent re-election, which was controversial, by the way. His son, David Kudakwashe Mnangagwa, has been designated as the deputy to finance minister, while his nephew, Tongai, will take on the role of deputy minister of tourism and hospitality. This move by President Mnangagwa has raised concerns about nepotism within the government, as critics argue that the appointment may compromise transparency and fairness in the administration's decision-making processes. So finance, tourism, Rufai.
I mean, who did this to Africa? It is always a suspect, but maybe by extension, I also say, hey, Donald Trump also did it in his cabinet, so it's not only about Africa, but it's very sad where people and leaders feel it's just about those that are close to them and all of that. I mean, there's too many stories. Dennis Sassou Nguesso too had people that are close to him, of blood relations and the likes. We've had over and over and over again, people that are doing all sorts of things. And speaking of this Mnangagwa family, there was an Al Jazeera documentary that at a point of it, Pastor Angel Obat did put a call through to the wife of the president, and they were talking about how they can use their private jet to be able to help people transport their money and their cash, which is against the law. So you can see what happens. And the people of Zimbabwe are not even free. In fact, when they fought for independence in Zimbabwe to be able to push Ian Smith off Rhodesia, and they won independence, and they changed Salisbury to Harare and all of that, we thought it was going to be for the betterment, but it has just become the government of whoever is in power. Maybe from the time of Robert Mugabe, that it was his government of him and Grace, Gucci Grace, and now Mnangagwa and his children, while the average Zimbabwean suffers and reels from terrible economy and all of that. So while you have strong oppositions also pushing the likes of Chamisa and co against all of this happening in Zimbabwe, these people keep feeding themselves fat. The Al Jazeera documentary was an indictment on the Zimbabwean leadership and government. And we are sad that this constantly happens. So for those that are defending Mnangagwa, they should see things like this and less introspect. We need to save Africa.
Absolutely. Going back to your first question, who did this to Africa? Hopefully we can build strong institutions and have quality leadership on the continent. Well,
I was going to ask, it will be interesting to see what Dr. Chihombori Kwao will say about this latest development. You recall that she was recently on this program about twice, and she was defending the sitting government in Zimbabwe, our country. And the argument was that the CPC, the Coalition for Change, which is the major opposition party, was being teleguided by some foreign agents. So the CPC now, the Coalition for Change, is now protesting that this kind of thing that Mnangagwa has done is unacceptable. You have made your son deputy finance minister. You have made your nephew deputy tourism minister. There are 2 other ministers in that is cabinet of 26 who are husband and wife. Husband is in charge of veteran affairs. The wife is the minister of women affairs. So you just see nepotism, cronyism, as standard practice. And isn't this the case in other parts of Africa? In Guinea Equatorial, the son is, ranking member of cabinet. Another son is in charge of the oil corporation. You just find these people putting their family members everywhere. Now, the question, the counter-argument that is raised by people who hold another view is to say, well, if those sons, wives, daughters, nephews are qualified, because some of them may well have the competence, they may be international superstars, but the thing that we have seen across Africa is that this is not on the basis of competence. Yeah. This is on the basis of blood relations. Yeah. In fact, it's so bad in Nigeria that, in fact, people hustle to marry daughters of people in government. Or, their daughters will try to marry sons so that they can have access to the corridors of power, either formally or informally. And that is why leadership is the major challenge that we face in this continent. We need people who want to serve, people who are public-spirited, not people who want to use the position to build their next 5, 6 generations at the expense of the public. And that is why when we say something new always comes out of Africa, our leaders don't listen. In fact, they produce worse patterns, as we wake up daily. In Zimbabwe today, you wait. There will be more examples from other countries.
Wow. Okay, let's take the next story and possibly our final story for today because of our time. In Lagos State, we have this video now making the rounds on social media. An estate in the Solo area of the state was seen in the early hours of Tuesday covered in flood. Some residents who were stranded expressed fear, stating that the flood was induced by the heavy downpour that took place on Tuesday morning. Also, we learned of the accident involving an upturned loaded truck which took a lane on Otedola Bridge, Ododu Berger, yesterday as well, that's Tuesday. The accident resulted to traffic congestion inward Lagos-Ibadan Expressway and Ododu Berger as the bridge was also flooded due to the downpour on Tuesday morning. The floods are in. We know see what's happening in Libya, and this is a wake-up call for Lagos State and for Nigeria as a whole.
Anytime it rains in Lagos, you have floods. Every year, the Ministry of Environment, Lagos State, comes forward and says, oh, there will be more rains this year. People should just be careful. State government is making effort. Well, it's the same reality every year. When they release water from Onyon Dam or Lagdo Dam, Lagos is also flooded. It shouldn't be like that. We have to pay more attention to the environment. Thank you very much, Ayo.